Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank you all for joining me again tonight as we do today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This, of course, will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. Because this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with y'all. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going to get right to it tonight. So here we go. This is November 18th reading of James Allen's Daily Meditations. There is no more painful bondage than to be at the mercy of one's inclinations. Interesting. The law is that the heart shall be purified, the mind regenerated, and the whole self and the whole being brought in subjugation to love, till self be dead, and love is all in all. For the reign of law is the reign of love, and love may be claimed and entered into now, for it is the heritage of all. Ah, beautiful truth, to know that now man may accept his divine heritage and enter into the kingdom of heaven. O pitiful error, to know that man rejects it because of love of self. Obedience to one's selfish inclination means the drawing about one's soul clouds of pain and sorrow which darken the light of truth. The shutting out of oneself from all real blessings, for whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap. There is no greater liberty than utmost obedience to the law of being. I love this. This is an idea that I've come to thoroughly believe in, and it's not always in agreement with a lot of people's thoughts and understandings of it. But this, at least the part that's sticking out to me immediately, is that middle part where it talks about to know that now man may accept his divine heritage and enter into the kingdom of heaven. I found much of heaven right here on earth. That's what it tells us. That's what I've been told by multiple spiritual paths. That's what I've come to understand. And with that understanding has come a practice that's manifested it for me. And I guess maybe it's one of those things where I couldn't even fathom the true magnificence of what heaven could be or would be. But I can tell you right now, following this way of living has brought me a life beyond my wildest dreams. So, all right, let's go through this again. The opening line was great. There is no more painful bondage than to be at the mercy of one's inclinations. That's a cool one. Preferences, opinions. That's what I'm taking that as. There's no more painful bondage than to be at one's own mercy of one's inclinations. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied tonight, and I apologize for that. And what's been sticking out to me lately is we've talked a lot about sacrificing your own opinion, not to be attached to it, to allow it to be wrong, to allow an opinion to be an opinion, not a character defining thing. We don't have to cling to our opinions so tightly for what, you know? And the more I can let the grip go on my opinions, the more happiness I've found and the more peace I've found within myself and with other people. Because it's my attachment to my opinions that makes me feel like I have to be right. So when I can let that attachment go and seek just truth, whether it's knowledge that I know already or knowledge that someone else can help me navigate, life goes a lot better. I value truth over being right. I value finding truth over me just being right. So That is a pretty painful place to be, the bondage of one's own inclinations. I love the I love the way he articulates these things, and it's the same ideas over and over again, different ways, different phrasing, perspectives, approaches, understandings, and I need all of them to make sure that I'm actually seeing how they show up in all areas of my life as well. So, the law is that the heart shall be purified, the mind regenerated, and the whole being brought in subjection to love, till self be dead, and love is all in all. For the reign of law is the reign of love. So the law is the law of love, really. It's the law of selflessness and service. And when you do that, when you live for a life of service to God and others, the purification of the heart, the regeneration of the mind, you get different thoughts, you get new thoughts, and your entire being, body, mind, and soul is brought into subjugation of love. So your actions, your thoughts, and your intentions all reflect love in your life. They come from a loving place. What an amazing thing that to follow the reign of law, so to follow these spiritual principles, to follow these practices and these spiritual virtues, bring us into alignment with the law, and the law is love. Till self be dead, and love is all in all, for the reign of law is love. Till self be dead. That's a statement that doesn't scare me as much as it used to when I first started getting sober, when I first started on this spiritual walk. It is a beautiful truth. And love may be claimed and entered into now, for it is the heritage of all. We can step into that law of love. We can practice our soul and our spirit's natural state of being. That's the amazing part. The only thing holding us back from joy and happiness beyond our wildest dreams and imaginations is ourselves. We can have it all right here, right now. Suffering need not be a requirement of living anymore. There was something I posted on my page recently, and it was a quote from James Allen's book, By Ways of Blessedness. I don't remember if I mentioned it on here, but there's a chapter in that book that, let me tell you, it's a it's changed the way I've lived. When after I first read it, it was talking about burden. The name of the chapter is called Burden Dropping. Burden Dropping. It and that's exactly what it talks about. Letting your burdens go. Because it's not an actual burden. The burden comes from your own selfishness and self-centeredness. So when you live in love and do things with the entirety of who you are, and out of a loving place, suddenly there is no burden in your life. The stress just magically disappears because it is not a tax on your selfishness anymore, your self-centeredness, your egotistical living is suddenly out of the way. And that was a new concept to me. I thought we just had to suffer through life, but not the case. It was great. Great chapter to read. So, okay, now this middle line that I had talked about earlier. Beautiful truth. To know that now man may accept his divine heritage and enter the kingdom of heaven. I promise you, it's been my experience. I feel like I have been in hell. I feel like I have found much of heaven. It exists all within inside my mind, the torture I put my soul through, disconnecting myself from that power and that source and that stream of life. You can have so much right now that you didn't even know was possible if you just let yourself. What an amazing thing. And then the next sentence here, oh, pitiful error to know that man rejects it because of love of self. Man rejects the blessings and the peace that they could have because of the love of self. Isn't that the truth? Our opinions and desires get in the way of peace and serenity, and suddenly we don't understand why. We don't understand why life is so hard for us. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves every single time. Every single time. Obedience to one's selfish inclinations, so our desires and opinions, means that drawing about one's soul clouds of pain and sorrow. So when you serve yourself, when you're serving your own selfish inclinations, your own opinions and desires, you draw to yourself pain and sorrow, which darken the light of truth, which clouds your vision, right? With these, when you're going through a 12-step program, what they talk about is when you do that fourth and fifth step in that program, it unshrouds your connection with your higher power, the God of your understanding, the world, the universe, that energy. Here he's referring to it as the light of truth and love. But it's all that same thing. The shutting out of oneself from all real blessedness. For whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. We get what we're putting out. We get that back to us. And it cuts us off from this connection that we can find peace and serenity with. It's so unfortunate that we don't realize it, but it's the truth. It cuts us off completely. It ends with this: there is no greater liberty than utmost obedience to the law of being. The ultimate freedom is found in the ultimate relinquishing of self and to be of service. What joy there is, what life there is to live when you take that perspective. It's a pretty amazing thing. And a blessing in my life, that's for sure. So, well, all right. That's going to button it up for now. Can't believe we're at November 18th. It's been a great month so far. Started out a little slow, but this center of November is really picking up and got a lot of good stuff in it. So I'm grateful for it, of course. Thank you all for jumping on and listening. Of course, it's a pleasure. Now I'm going to be looking forward till tomorrow. So until next time, thanks.